What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just a web series. We're talking about the production of Transformers Rise of the Beast. This is episode number 8, and we're going to start off with a couple of thank you shoutouts. These are some big thank you appreciation shoutouts to OG Ragin Nation members who've been with me since the very beginning. And in no particular order, we got Andy Murphy, Marlon Fan 1995, John Batchnag, Max Martinez, Trent Lingle, Roy Nahum, and Greg Davis. Thank you so much for following me through all the years of the Ragin Nation and the various Road to series. I really appreciate you guys, and of course recently I've been more active on YouTube for obvious reasons, and I've always been active on Instagram, and I've been seeing your interactions, your comments, your likes, and I'm just thinking to myself that, hey, these guys are OG members, and I'm so glad that you guys are still on board for the journey. Thank you so much, you guys, and of course, I appreciate all of you. So, yeah, you guys are awesome, and once again, I appreciate all you guys. All right, in this episode, we're gonna address a couple of things, and I don't actually have any news for you guys, but I'd like to take some time to address some things that are very important to me. And I think you guys know what I'm about to talk about, and that is, I made a couple of mistakes in the previous episode. In fact, one of them was quite glaring, and that was calling Jazz Mirage. Calling Mirage Jazz. And the crazy part is that I didn't even notice it until I read the comments. As a matter of fact, if you read the comments from episode 7, a lot of it is about talking about, or rather correcting my mistakes. And there's a lot of them. And it's mostly about the fact that I called Jazz Mirage. I called Mirage Jazz, and about a toy leak. So, once again, I apologize for calling Mirage Jazz, okay? I want to clear some confusion. It's not Jazz. It's a Porsche 911, which is what Jazz is in, or Jazz was in G1, but that's Mirage. At least that's what they're calling him right now. We don't know if they're going to change the name upon the release, because that's still a possibility. But for now, it's Mirage, okay? And if I ever call him Jazz again, you can still continue to correct me, because we're going to get this right. I'm going to keep on trying until I get it right. Okay, now let's talk about this toy leak, which I spent 10 minutes of my 30-minute episode talking about in episode 7. This is really, really embarrassing. So the toy leak, turns out it wasn't even legit. And the crazy part is that when someone sent the toy leak, the list to me, like a week ago, once I received it, I actually just took a really quick look and said, that's fake. I have a chat transcript for that. I said, that's fake. And he says, I just wanted to, okay, thanks for telling me. I just wanted to be sure. And I said that the reason why I think it's fake is that it's too early. It's too early to even, like, this is so early to get a list like this, right? And that was that. 5 or 6 days later, I decided to put a little bit, I was thinking about that list again. And I decided to look at it and see what's actually on there. Because at the time when I looked at it, I didn't even bother looking through the list. I just felt to myself that this is fake, don't even need to look at it. But I decided 5 or 6 days later to look at the list. And then once I looked at it, I was thinking to myself, this looks legit. This actually looks legit. In fact, I should talk about this in episode 7, the previous episode. So I ended up doing that. And then, of course, I got corrected on that. Turns out that it was a Transformers fan who just wanted to troll the community. And of course, well, nobody appreciates that. The only person who finds that amusing is the guy who is the troll. So, you know, I want to apologize for that. There's already, you know, with the, like, since Revenge of the Fallen, there was, you know, Michael Bay's misinformation campaign, and that was from him. That was from the movie production. And now we have misinformation coming from fans, which is nothing new. But the fact that I decided to spend time talking about it, now it wastes my time. And in the end, it wastes your time. In the end, we're wasting everybody's time. So I want to apologize for that and acknowledge my mistake. Now, I did have something to gain from that, and gaining the knowledge that Galavar is actually another name for Megatron in Beast Wars. So that's something that's interesting. I never knew that. I never saw Beast Wars. And Pterosaur, in my video, I said that, okay, well, if Pterosaur is going to be in it, it's most likely going to be a Terracon. But then I got a correction in the comments. Turns out that Pterosaur is actually a character in Beast Wars who's actually a Predacon, and he's a pterodactyl. All right, so, you know, at least there's something to gain from that. And not only did I gain some knowledge about Beast Wars characters, but I also gained the, I guess the idea to do more research before I decide to present more information. Before I decide to present information to you guys. All right, so yeah, I will do my best. I will do better, and I will put more thought into presenting my information before I decide to do that. You know, with toy leaks, it's always so sketchy. You're never really sure, because at the end of the day, this information is not actually supposed to be put out there. So it could be legit, or it could be real. So, I mean, it could be legit or it could be fake. That's what I meant to say. And in this case, it was fake. There are legitimate toy leaks. I mean, toy leaks are never legitimate because they're leaked. But there could be ones that are actually the actual list of real toys, okay? But it's hard to really know. In any case, this one was fake, so that's that. That's over and done with. Another item that I need to address was I mentioned about this visual representation of another toy leak, and that was a repaint and remold of the Energon Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, and turns out that has nothing to do with Transformers Rise of the Beast. It's not part of its toy line. It was actually part of the Bumblebee 2018 toy line. So, like I said before, I spent 10 minutes talking about toy leaks, and none of it actually has anything to do with Transformers Rise of the Beast. I apologize for that, all right? But at least I want to take the time to acknowledge my mistake, because, you know, as I'm making more of these episodes, I have a responsibility. So, yeah, I will take a big L for that. That's what people say these days, right? So I'm taking a big L. All right, so there you have it. We're done with that. Let's move on and talk about something else. And now this is a recurring comment or question that I've been seeing for a number of my episodes. And that is some confusion. And that is Transformers Rise of the Beast part of the reboot or not? Like, is this a reboot or not? Okay, let's just clear the air. Let's just answer this question once and for all. Is it a reboot or is it not a reboot? Is it a reboot or a prequel? Because after all, Bumblebee takes place in the 80s, Transformers Rise of the Beast takes place in the 90s, and then of course, this all is in a timeline that happens before the first Transformers film, because that one takes place in 2007. All right, so is it a prequel or is it a full-on reboot? Okay, and unfortunately, that's not a simple answer. But I will do my best to give you the best answer. But we first have to hear it from the studios. And what did the studios say? Or what did Lorenzo de Bonaventura say? He said that, well, it works as kind of like a prequel, and it's also like they don't want to say the word reboot. It could, they almost threw out the term soft reboot, but they actually don't like the word reboot, okay? But he did say that Bumblebee works as a prequel to the first film, okay? And that's that. But that is what they said. I don't know the exact quote that Lorenzo de Bonaventura said, but the key words is that he didn't want to use the word reboot, and he also said that it works as a prequel, okay? So here's my take on that, okay? So the studios don't want to say that it's a reboot. They don't want to say that, because when you say reboot, it's a turnoff for the fans. It really is. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel fans or DC fans or Transformers fans. Saying the word reboot is a turnoff because it means that we're starting all over again. And every time you start all over again, you lose the audience. Because they feel like, okay, well, you know, they're rebooting again. It's another remake. It's another reboot. It's another retelling. We've seen this story before. So that's why they don't want to say it's a reboot. Now, then is it a prequel? It works as a prequel. And that's the beauty of Bumblebee. Bumblebee can work as both a reboot and a prequel. It really depends on you and which fandom you side with. All right, should you decide to take a side. If you are a huge fan of the Michael Bay universe or the Michael Bay films or the Bayverse, then yes, Bumblebee works as a prequel to the first 5 films, okay? So it totally works as a prequel. After all, it has the DNA of the other films, such as Bumblebee's Camaro mode, as well as Agent Simmons and Sector 7. So those 2 elements, those are the 2 main elements that connect Bumblebee with the Michael Bay films. That's it. But Bumblebee also works as a standalone film that is disconnected from the Michael Bay universe. It works as a reboot, okay? Transformers Rise of the Beast is a follow-up to Bumblebee. It's going to take on a whole new perspective because now we're seeing the perspective of new human characters, and also apparently Optimus Prime is now going to be the main Autobot character that we follow. He's the Autobot protagonist as opposed to Bumblebee. So that's going to be a different direction, but at the end of the day, these are 2 stories, Bumblebee and Transformers Rise of the Beast, that work on their own without Michael Bay's 5 films. Okay, so is it a reboot? It totally is a reboot. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of the way, and now that you understand the idea behind it and the way it works, it totally works as a reboot. It totally is a reboot. Does Bumblebee work as a prequel to the first film? Hell yes, it does. Totally. You can watch Bumblebee and then you can watch the Shia LaBeouf first Transformers film, and they complement each other so well. Okay, there are some continuity errors. There's some continuity errors here and there, but at the end of the day, it still works as a prequel. Okay, but you have to be really nitpicky should you decide to pick up these continuity errors. Okay, it could be stuff that is said in the dialogue or little things here and there, but regardless, if you look at the bigger picture, Bumblebee and the 2007 Transformers film complement each other very, very well. Okay. Aside from the fact that you know, Bumblebee is a very interesting movie because it has 2 types of designs. It has G1 designs and it has the Michael Bay style design. So it's a very interesting type of movie because it feels like it's a bridge between the Bayverse and this new rebooted group of films. And by group I mean Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast. So it feels like a bridge between the 2. So Bumblebee is that key film. It works as both. Rise of the Beast, on the other hand, is going to work really, really well standing on its own, disconnected from Michael Bay's universe. Okay? So that's how that works. So if you ever ask Stephen Cable Jr. or Lorenzo de Bonaventura if it's a reboot, they will never tell you it's a reboot. Now, on the other hand, they will tell you that it's a reboot if Transformers Rise of the Beast is a huge financial success. Okay? That's the only time they will tell you it's a reboot. They'll say, like, you know, they're going to take credit for that, right? They'll say that, you know what? You know, it's a huge success and the fans wanted something new and fresh, so that's why we decided to reboot it. Okay? I've been following these guys, or rather, Lorenzo de Bonaventura's and Michael Bay's interviews since the beginning. And, you know, you kind of get an idea of how they think, how they talk, and their thought process about these films. And I guarantee you that should Rise of the Beast turn out to be a huge financial success, he will have no problem with telling you that it was because they decided to reboot it. Okay? That's the only time they'll tell you it's a reboot, and that's that. So yeah. So is it a reboot? Yes, it is. Is Bumblebee a prequel? Yes, it is. Can it be both? Hell yes. Let's just get that out of the way, and we're done with that. Okay, that's my official answer, and it'll be official the moment this movie makes a ton of money. Okay, And that's that. All right. So, we're not quite done here yet. There's another thing that I'd like to address. I'd like to bring to your attention to my most recent Instagram posting. And that is this still from the Bumblebee movie. And it's one of my favorite shots in the entire movie. Aside from the Cybertron sequence, because that's like a whole sequence, I'm talking about a shot. One take. And that is Bumblebee as a Camaro and Optimus Prime as a Freightliner with the trailer rolling out on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. That was totally unexpected. It really took me back to like being a kid. It was very, very nostalgic, and it was just a huge, huge positive surprise moment. I decided to post that still on my Instagram and just mention that I love this shot so much. Bumblebee is my favorite Transformers film, and like this is such an awesome shot, and I love it so much. So it's a message of positivity, okay? Have you guys seen the comments on that? It's absolutely ridiculous. Here I am expressing my love and adoration for a shot in a film and expressing my love for a movie and how I love it so much. And there are people there, fans, that decide to take a dump on all that. And it's very, very disheartening. The thing is that there's a lot of Transformers fandoms that I don't care for, such as Transformers Animated, the Unicron series. What else is there? Cyberverse. Sorry. Beast Wars. I've never seen them, and I don't care for them, okay? It doesn't mean I hate them. I can't hate something that I don't know anything about, okay? It's impossible. I want to watch Beast Wars because this is what Transformers Rise of the Beast is based off of. I want to watch Beast Wars. But there's been a lot of fans, especially from the like Bayverse fandom, that really do not care about Beast Wars at all. Like they just don't care about Beast Wars, have no interest in it at all, okay? And they will talk bad about it. It says, like they said that it sucks and all that stuff. And, you know, that's fine and all, but you should really watch it before you say it sucks, okay? So what I'm trying to get at is that, like, regardless of how these movies bring us all together, and non-Beast Wars fans are suddenly becoming more interested in Beast Wars because the next movie, at least from the production of it, looks very promising. And they're so excited about it, and now they're suddenly more interested in Beast Wars, okay? Like, these movies bring us together, but once you decide to say something that they disagree with, okay, then the true colors come out. And it's very disheartening. And, you know, every fandom has their divisions. Star Wars, Marvel, DC. Actually, DC fans are pretty loyal, okay? I'll tell you that, okay? DC fans love everything, okay? But in any case, you know, you got your Marvel fans, Star Wars fans, of course, Transformers fans. And I've always known Transformers fans have always been a difficult bunch. But you would think that, you know, an epic shot like that would be something that people like, and apparently not. And it's totally fine if you don't think Bumblebee is the best Transformers film, and I totally get that. Like, that's fine. A lot of people love Transformers Dark of the Moon. They really do. They think it's the best one, and I totally respect that. A lot of fans love Transformers, the very first film, and once again, I totally respect that. There was a time when I loved Transformers, the very first film, as my favorite until Bumblebee came out, because Bumblebee gave me a feeling. It's about a feeling. It's not so much about, like, you know, that there's like less action or anything like that, because there is less action when compared to the bigger Michael Bay Transformers films. It gave me a feeling that I never felt before that the other films couldn't give me, all right, especially the sequels. And I feel a very closeness to that because of the fact that I grew up with it. So don't go taking a dump on something that brings me happiness. I think that you know, I want to take a moment to just kind of change, or hopefully I can change people's attitudes and try to show mutual respect. Because, you know, once again, the fan is very divided, but you don't have to fight with other fans because you're not into their fandom. You can actually do what I do And that is, if someone says Transformers The Last Knight is awesome and they love that movie, I've always responded with that, hey, I'm happy you enjoyed it. You know, I wish I could get the same enjoyment out of you. I didn't enjoy it, but I'm actually glad that you did, because enjoying something is actually a very positive feeling. And I wasn't able to get that, but I'm at least glad that somebody else was able to get that out of it. When I express my displeasure for Transformers The Last Knight, I do it like on my own. You know, I'm not doing it to somebody. I'm not saying it to somebody directly. I'm actually doing it in a video where I'm expressing myself, but I'm not expressing myself to somebody else directly, and where we'll engage in a flame war or a nerd rage or whatever, a nerd fight or whatever you want to call it, right? So I will never get into that, okay? There was a lot of times in that Instagram posting where I could have responded to something. Like somebody said, you know, there's some people that said some really mean things, like saying like I wish G1 fans should just die off, and like, how could you say something like that? All right, G1 fans are, first of all, you know, they're fans of the original Transformers. Without G1, you would not have the Michael Bay films. Without G1 and G1 fans, you would not have Peter Cullen voicing Optimus Prime in the Michael Bay films, because the fans are the ones who suggested it. You know what I'm saying? You really shouldn't say things like that. And also, G1 fans are not the ones who made Bumblebee a financial failure, because Bumblebee is not a financial failure. Bumblebee is a financial success because it's all relative. The production budget was 130 and they made at least triple that. Okay, you know who didn't contribute to Bumblebee's box office? It wasn't G1 fans. It was the Bay fans. All right, the Bayverse fans weren't keen on the idea of Bumblebee as having his own solo film, that it was them that decided not to watch those movies. Because if you ask, like, 50% of Bay fans don't like Bumblebee. It's a fact. Like, it's not that they don't like it, it's that they're not a fan of it and they don't care for it. And a lot of them haven't even watched it to this date, because it's not a continuation of Transformers Last Night. So therefore, they didn't contribute to Bumblebee's box office. Okay, so let's clear the air here now. The reason why Bumblebee didn't make as much money as the other ones is because it's not because of G1 fans not contributing to it. This was full on a G1 movie, okay? But it was the Bayverse fans that didn't contribute to it. So therefore, you can see how it's divided. They only like their Bayverse fandom, but not something different, okay? But now we're seeing the production of Transformers Rise of the Beast, and you're seeing how it's looking more and more promising. Now, you know, we're having a film that can hopefully unite both, like, all the communities together. The Beast Wars fans, the G1 fans, and the Bayverse fans. Because, you know, when you watch Transformers Rise of the Beast, it's still going to have the DNA of Michael Bay's films. It will. It's like a given, because Michael Bay set the standard for what Transformers films are going to be like. And the very first Michael Bay Transformers film in 2007, guess who contributed to a huge chunk of that box office? G1 fans, because they wanted to see what the very first live-action Transformers film was gonna be like. All right, so it's not a good idea to disrespect G1 fans, because honestly, without us, we wouldn't have a lot of what we have now. True story. That's a fact. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up, because, I mean, reading the comments, like, I'm not even going to respond to any of those comments in that post. This was my opportunity to express something positive, and I really did not expect, you know, like, these hardcore fans to just, like, dump on it. All right? If you love the Michael Bay stuff, and it's, you know, and you know, there was a time when I did love it, and I spoke highly of it, okay? I saw Bumblebee, and I just felt like, hey, Transformers can actually be so much better, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it's my opinion, but I did express how much I absolutely disliked Transformers Last Night, but I will express that in a video. I'm not going to directly say that to you as a response to you in a comment, because I don't need to have that conversation to you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to, I can't convince you of how I feel, and I don't need to spend time to point out all the things that are wrong with it, because I'm going to start sounding like I'm going to bring to you this attention. I'm going to bring your attention to this tweet that I made, okay? And that was, I mentioned that I don't want to engage in any conversation with hardcore nerds because they will, I forgot what, anyways, I'm going to just put the tweet right here. You can read it over here. And what had happened is that I had mentioned to this fan that I'm looking forward to Snake Eyes. And then he said, it's gonna suck, man. They already screwed up the origins of Snake Eyes, and then he spent like an entire time, like minutes, like 10 minutes talking about, okay, it felt like 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes. He spent the entire time just talking about how it's gonna suck and how they screwed up the origins and they're not sticking to the source material and all that. And then I just went, okay, all right, you know what? You know what? It's fine. You know, like, it's all good. You know, I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to it, right? But, you know, I don't want to be that guy. You know, I don't want to be that guy that is just, like, talking so bad about it before they've even watched the movie. All right? That's just, like you don't want to be that type of nerd, okay? Those are the types that are, like, people frown upon those because, like, they're difficult. They're not fun to be around. They're just not, okay? So there you have it. And that's all I really wanted to talk about. I felt the need to really express myself. And, you know, it's really unfortunate that a positive post ended up being like that. I'm going to leave the post as is. I'm not going to comment on it. I'm not going to delete any comments. I'm not going to block anybody because, like, you know, I want to leave that as an example for you guys to take a look at and see from this perspective what it looks like. Okay, you got to see it from other people's eyes to see, like, from a neutral point of view, what this looks like. And it looks pretty bad, okay? So, you know, respect to everybody's opinion, but don't go crapping on people's enjoyment, all right? So, you cannot give them a reason to hate something because you hate it too, okay? So there you have it. I'm sorry I had to end this video like this, but it's something that simply needed to be addressed. I got another episode for you guys coming up. I'm filming that next. We're not going to talk about any of this stuff anymore. We're going to talk more about the Transformers Rise of the Beasts. But I had to get this off my chest, okay? Anyways, thank you so much for hearing me out. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. Peace.